The history of coffee would be incomplete if we don't talk about war. There have been many ways to prepare coffee on the battlefield. During the Civil War, the Sharps Carbine Rifle had a unique coffee grinder embedded in its buttstock. Throughout World War I, American soldiers in trenches brewed coffee in their socks. Instant coffee became an instant success during World War II. And during the Vietnam War, some soldiers used C4 explosive as a heat source to boil water for their coffee.
Hey, is that coffee I smell?
It sure is, Mac. Do you want some?
This is the story of caffeine and carbines, next on Mark in History. This is the historical marker for the London Coffee House, which was located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. When the London Coffee House opened in 1754, hundreds of people flocked there daily to drink coffee, socialize, and catch up on the news and talk business. After the Boston Tea Party, drinking coffee became a symbol of American patriotism and a way to avoid taxed British tea. Let's discover America's taste for coffee and its link to military history. On December 16, 1773, American colonists dumped 342 crates of imported British tea into Boston Harbor to protest taxation without representation. The Boston Tea Party, as it became known, led to a boycott of tea and a surge in coffee consumption. In the years leading up to the American Revolution, drinking coffee rather than tea was a middle finger salute to the British throne. Coffee houses in the American colonies were the Starbucks of 1776, located on every corner of Boston, Philadelphia, and New York City. John Adams noted that the debates and deliberations in Congress were impenetrable secrets, but the chat of the coffee house are free and open. When the Revolutionary War broke out in 1775, coffee played a role in sustaining the Continental Army by providing energy and boosting morale. Soldiers often had to endure long marches, cold weather, and minimal rations, so having a hot cup of coffee was both physically and mentally uplifting. George Washington was known to be an avid coffee drinker. As the top general, he recognized coffee's importance in winning the war for independence. He reportedly made efforts to ensure his troops had access to it whenever possible, understanding how it helped maintain their stamina and spirits. At the outbreak of the Civil War in 1861, Americans were drinking twice as much coffee as they were 30 years before. But the war introduced a problem for the Union's coffee drinkers. The sudden demand for more coffee as a crucial army provision, combined with the blockade of southern ports, created a crisis. Due to this crisis, the Union Army developed a new product they called the essence of coffee. By all accounts, Union soldiers abhorred this stuff. Even their horses wouldn't drink it. Finding a new source of coffee beans had become a matter of endurance for the Union Army. So, what was the solution? Maybe it was a new fledgling country in West Africa. Previous to the outbreak of the Civil War, the United States had not yet officially recognized the coffee-growing new Republic of Liberia and its new president, Stephen Allen Benson. Why? Because the southern states had stood in the way of recognizing Liberia. They argued that it would be inappropriate for the U.S. to host a black diplomatic representative in Washington. In April 1861, President Benson represented the coffee farmers of Liberia. Many of those coffee farmers were black Americans who had fled America to escape its racial hostility. Benson knew that his new country could provide an essential fuel in the Union's own fight against slavery. Mercifully for Union generals, President Abraham Lincoln officially recognized the Republic in 1862. That created an opening for imports for Liberia's more ethical coffee, not grown by slaves. A ship that left the port at Monrovia on August 1862 carried 6,000 pounds of premium African coffee beans. It was the first major shipment to the Union and would prove vital in the North's caffeinated victory. In contrast, the Confederacy faced severe shortages. The Union blockade choked off imports, making real coffee scarce. In order to mimic their beloved brew, Southerners turned to nauseating substitutes like roasted chicory, acorns, and sweet potatoes. What the Union troops didn't have was a battle-ready, handy-dandy coffee grinder. So Lieutenant Colonel Walter King, a leader with the 4th Missouri State Militia Cavalry Unit, came up with a unique idea. He developed a coffee grinding mill that could be incorporated into the buttstock of a Sharps carbine. As the story goes, one man in each cavalry company would be issued one of these guns, and he would be responsible for grinding coffee for the men in his unit while they were living out of the saddle. The U.S. coffee market was forever changed by the Civil War. Drinking coffee 3 times a day had hooked American soldiers, with the enlisted men developing lifelong peacetime habits while camped at Shiloh or Petersburg. By 1885, the U.S. had imported 11 pounds of coffee beans per person per year, nearly double pre-war levels. During this time, instant coffee became popular in America because it offered a quick and convenient way to enjoy coffee without a coffee grinder or the brewing process. American inventor and entrepreneur George Constant Lewis Washington recognized that thirst for convenience, so he developed his own instant coffee method in 1909. He marketed it as Washington's coffee. Thanks to its long shelf life and clever marketing on the part of Washington, his instant coffee began to take off. Although this raised the popularity of the product to unprecedented levels, it's what happened next that arguably cemented instant coffee's place in the world. When America entered the First World War in 1917, Washington shifted his entire production to make military instant coffee rations for the American Army. The ability to produce small, lightweight packages made it ideal for rations. Washington's coffee became a big hit among the soldiers. Many soldiers referred to their drink as a cup of George. So, where did the nickname Cup of Joe come from? The common nickname has been around a long time, but its origins are still a bit mysterious. My favorite origin for Cup of Joe stems from an alcohol ban on U.S. Navy ships imposed by the Secretary of the Navy, Josephus Joe Daniels. After his order, imposed near the beginning of World War I, the strongest drink a sailor could get on the ship was black coffee. As the story goes, sailors began to call coffee a cup of Joe in protest. There are many more theories about a cup of Joe, but this one is my favorite. When World War II erupted, coffee came with it, not as a weapon, but as a vital addition to every food ration. Soldiers, fatigued and freezing in the fields, reached for a warm tin cup. Coffee wasn't just a drink, it was morale in liquid form. For the Allies, coffee became a tool of endurance, but it had to be battlefield quick. Enter instant coffee and Nescafé, the dominant brand developed just in time to serve millions of troops. Instant coffee was packaged in C rations and K rations. Back home, our government understood the power of a warm cup of Joe. War propaganda turned coffee into patriotism. Advertisements painted a mug of coffee as a symbol of unity, sacrifice, and national pride. Over in Europe, a new coffee sensation was born, the Americano. This coffee's origins are linked to American soldiers stationed in Italy during World War II. These soldiers, accustomed to the taste of drip coffee back home, found the strong, concentrated espresso preferred in Italy unpalatable. To create a coffee closer to their preferred taste and volume, they began diluting espresso shots with hot water. Italian baristas recognized the demand and began offering this diluted espresso, calling it Caffe Americano. This drink became a staple in Europe and eventually made its way back to the United States, where it is now a popular coffee choice. U.S. soldiers in the Vietnam War relied heavily on coffee for both comfort and alertness during long, stressful deployments in the jungle. Sharing coffee became a way for American troops to bond not only with each other, but also with local Vietnamese civilians, fostering moments of cultural exchange and camaraderie. Soldiers often made coffee in the field using unconventional methods. A notable technique was using C4 explosives as a heat source to boil water for their coffee.
Because it's plastic explosive, it's like clay. And I would pinch off a little bit and come up with this little bump sticking out. And then take a match and light that little bump sticking out, hold my canteen cup over it, and I had a boiling canteen cup of water. It burns at about 1600 degrees.
In situations where even water or heating was scarce, some soldiers resorted to eating instant coffee granules directly for a quick caffeine boost. The high demand for coffee among U.S. troops contributed to the growth of the coffee industry in Vietnam, helping to establish the country as a major global coffee producer in the years following the war. It was during the Vietnam era that a new coffee culture was created in America. In 1971, Starbucks was founded by three university friends. Their first store opened in Pike Place Market in Seattle, Washington, and has grown into an American multinational chain of coffee houses and one of the most recognized brands in the world. 1 year later, in 1972, Mr. Coffee released the first automatic drip machine, and coffee was officially a staple in the American household. War cemented coffee's place in military culture, a tradition that endures today, with each cup echoing the resilience of those who once sipped it in the trenches. What began as a battlefield necessity has become a daily staple for each generation. If history can be taught with stories, it can never be forgotten. Please like our video, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell to stay informed on the latest videos. And don't forget to leave your comments below and tell us what you like about this video.